I'm going to introduce the topic of timers. And first, the way I'm going to do that is let's look at a control relay and remind ourselves how that works. So you have a control relay, and you will have normally open contacts, maybe a red lamp, and let's do the normally closed contacts. We do a green lamp. Now, what I want to introduce is a timing diagram and what would happen in a timing diagram. So, if we start at 0 seconds and then we just have a scale where each tick mark is a second, for example. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Just keep going on. Now, if this push button comes on right here and is pressed for, let's say, 2 seconds and then drop, this control relay contact, the first contact here, open, what would happen? Well, this isn't going to be very interesting, but it will come on after, as soon as the button's pressed, it'll stay on and it'll drop down. So what we're saying here is this is the PV1 and this is the control relay 1, and this is 0 and 1, meaning on and off and on. Same thing when we do the control relay normally closed contact. Actually, I call it control relay, but why don't we just call this the red lamp? And we'll do this one, the green. So the green lamp, it's going to be on to start with and turn off. It'll be off for 2 seconds and it'll come back on. So that's how the timing diagram works. Now, if we're going to do time delay relays, there's still a relay, but instead of a control relay, we would call it a timer relay. Just call it TR. So, and this would be, well, TR could be TR1. Maybe it makes a little more sense to put a number if you have more than one. And TR1, or, well, and you're not going to use the contact symbol. We're going to have to change that for another symbol which is used with the time delay relay. And the normally open would look like this. And if it's on delay, meaning there's a delay for the output to turn on, you draw an arrow up like this. Okay? Now what's going to happen is you have to put the number of seconds. So for instance, if the delay on was 1 second, and we still had this push button that was set up here. So the push button, we just have it on for 1 second. Well, what are we going to do here? We're going to have the red light delay for 1 second. So instead of coming on right away, we wait 1 second, and then it comes on, and then it will go off immediately when the push button is released. And I think 1 second is not as interesting as if we maybe made 3 seconds. So if we have 3 seconds, we better extend our press time to see how things work. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll have 5 seconds. That. So what's going to happen here? Well, the delay is going to extend instead of being 1 second. So there's 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3 seconds, and then it comes on. It'll stay on for 2 seconds, and then it will immediately shut off. The green lamp is going to be the opposite. So we're going to start on. It will wait 3 seconds to drop. So 1, 2, 3, then it will drop down, when the button's released, it immediately goes back up. So, oh, you know what I did? I didn't draw this right. These were drawn both the same. So the normally closed option of this looks like this. Okay? So those are both on delay. Now we have a red and green on delay, but there's also off delay. So on delay is simply taking your original control relay, which a control relay has no delay, it's immediate, and it delayed the on time. If this was the original on time right here, it delayed that. So what I'm drawing here is kind of the outline of what the original control relay would be. So now let's look at off delay. Off delay, we use the symbols almost the same except the arrow is pointing down. Do that, and I have to do another color light, so I'll yellow. And normally open off delay. Well, off delay, it's normally open, so it's the state of the push button to start with, and it immediately turns on when the push button's pressed, and now the delay is on the off side. So see that arrow over here pointing down? I like to draw like the off delay would be arrow there or here, but it's going to shift the off time. It's going to shift it by how much? Well, I wrote it here. I'm not sure how it's showing up on the screen, but that's 3 seconds. So we're going to count 3 seconds over. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to shift 3 seconds and then drop down. The off, that's the time. That's when it's shutting off. That's when the lamp, the yellow lamp in this case, would be shutting off. Now, when you have the normally open off delay, then we would want to do the normally closed off delay, which would look like this. And we will draw. Oh, I see it. Okay. This is green, red, yellow. We can do blue, something like that. And so for a blue lamp, the easiest way to draw it is just do the mirror image of the one before it. Because normally open versus normally closed, it reverses it. And you'll see that happen earlier with the green and the red. I usually do it that way, especially with the off delay. It gets a little confusing. Try to figure out how to set those up. So this is an introduction to timers. There's some interesting things that can happen though. We can change the amount of time. So if we make this from 3 seconds, and we had it, well, let's do 2 seconds now. 2 seconds. What happens if we do 2 seconds? Well, that would reduce the on delay from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. So over here, it would be something like this, and like this. Now the off delay will also be reduced by 1 second. So the time that the total time it's on, notice that this would have been 5 seconds plus 3, now it's 5 plus 2, which is 7 seconds total. And then you could do something like that. So that's if it's 2 seconds. Now if we reduce this down to 0 seconds, what is going to happen? Well, in 0 seconds, this is exactly how the control relay works, which I just talked about earlier. So this would just look like instantaneously changing. So as soon as the push button is pressed, the on delay would come on and it would come off as soon as it's released. And the reverse of that here. Same thing's going to happen on the off delay. It will just set up like that. I didn't just erase that, so I'll have to look at the video again what I did there. Now let's put this back to 3 seconds, but let's change the push button to 2 seconds. So if we only press the push button for 2 seconds, how will that affect it? Well, we're going to have to kind of start over here and look at everything and see what's going to happen. Okay. So push button is pressed for 2 seconds. We come here. The delay has to be 3 seconds. 1, 2, and then it's already reset. So on the on delay, the red lamp will never come on. The green lamp is on. You have to count for 3 seconds before it turns on. Well, 1, 2, and then you let go of the button. So that never turns off. Your red light stays on, your green light never turns on. What happens with your off delay? Well, with your off delay, remember it's a dropping edge. So you count out 2 seconds, 1, 2, and then you start your off delay, which is supposed to be 3 more seconds. 1, 2, and 3. So that's a total of 5 seconds that your yellow lamp will be on. So immediately when it's pressed, and it stays on 3 seconds after, total of 5. And the blue lamp is always just the reverse of that. It's on and it turns off for 5 seconds. Okay, there's your introduction to time delay relays.